Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you a step-by-step cool tone full glam makeup tutorial. This is one of my favorite makeup looks because it highlights brown eyes so beautifully. I actually filmed this makeup look some time ago for my Romanian YouTube channel and I thought it would be perfect to add an English voiceover and share it here as well. Let's start with skin prep because after cleansing my skin will always feel quite tight. Thermal water is still one of my all-time favorites, even after so many years. I apply it generously all over the face, gently tapping it into the skin. Next, I'm using the Inky Liss Hyaluronic Acid Serum, one of my absolute staples. I've repurchased this countless times for myself and for my professional kit. It hydrates beautifully and leaves the skin plump and fresh. For moisturizer, I'm applying the Bioma Moisturizing Gel Cream. It has a lightweight texture, hydrates really well, is oil-free and suitable for all skin types. As an eye cream, I'm using the Simple Soothing Eye Balm. It's affordable, has a light texture, isn't greasy, and I apply it under the eyes, on the eyelids, and even on the lips. Even though this skincare routine already creates a great base, since this is a full glam look, I'm also applying a blurring primer. Here I'm using the Benefit Professional Primer, which I tried for the very first time in this video, and I completely fell in love with it. It smooths pores and fine lines incredibly well. However, it doesn't control sebum if you have very oily skin, and the scent is quite strong. As you can see, I applied it on half of the face first, just to show you the difference. I didn't forget about the lips, especially because they tend to get very dry during the colder season. Here I'm applying the NYX Rev de Miel Lip Balm. It contains beeswax, so it's quite dense, but extremely nourishing and hydrating. The citrus scent is also amazing. Before applying foundation, I take a napkin and tuck it into my sweater. This is a little pro tip to keep your clothes clean when doing full glam makeup, especially with high neck sweaters. In this video, I'm trying the NARS Natural Radiant Long Gold Foundation for the very first time. I was really curious about this foundation because I was looking for something long-lasting, fragrance-free, non-comedogenic, and alcohol-free for my acne-prone skin. While it looks beautiful on the skin, medium to full coverage, creamy texture, natural matte finish, I was honestly disappointed with the longevity on my combination to oily skin. It works well when used with primer, concealer, powder, and setting spray, but on its own, it doesn't last very well on oily skin. In my opinion, it's best suited for normal skin, not dry, dehydrated, or oily skin. Here I'm using the shade Deauville, which has a yellow undertone and works well for light to medium skin tones. I apply the foundation first with a brush, then blend it in with a sponge for a more seamless finish. It's very pigmented. I started with 1.5 pumps, then added one more pump for full coverage. Whatever is left on the brush, I lightly blend onto the neck, just to soften the transition. I also apply a small amount under the eyes just to see the coverage, but not too much since concealer comes next. This is how the foundation looks on the skin. Flawless, but it doesn't fully set on its own. To get a perfect shade, I mix two concealers, Dior Forever Skin Correcting Shade 1N and NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Vanilla. I love both. The NARS works for all skin types, while the Dior is amazing for oily skin. I apply them under the eyes and in the center of the face to brighten. First, I stretch the product with a synthetic brush, then blend everything with a sponge. Here I'm also trying the Huda Beauty Tantour Bronzer in shade Light for the first time. It's extremely pigmented, so I accidentally picked up too much product. I blended it on the back of my hand first, then applied it to the face. It's creamy, it's matte, and you need very little product. The shade Light works for light to medium skin tones, but not fair skin. Because it's quite warm, I apply it more on the cheeks to warm up the skin, not directly under the cheekbone. I also blend it into the temples, forehead, nose, and jawline using very little product. At the end, I go over everything with a sponge to remove excess and make it look seamless. Now it's time to set everything with powder. I'm using the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Powder, which I absolutely love. It sets beautifully, blurs the skin, and works for all skin types, except very mature skin. I first reblend any creases under the eyes, then set it with a small brush using tapping motions. I also set the eyelids to create a base for eyeshadow. For the rest of the face, I use a larger brush and make sure to set the neck before removing the napkin. For the eyes, I'm using the Natasha Denona Glam palette, which is still one of my favorites. For this look, I really wanted cool grey tones. I start with the shade Transition, applying it all over the lid with a fluffy brush, then blending into the crease and towards the temples. Next, I take the shade Crease, which is deeper and more grey, and apply it precisely into the crease using a smaller brush. I keep the intensity towards the outer corner and blend softly toward the inner eye. I repeat the same shades on the lower lash line. Then I apply a fine line using the Maybelline Tattoo Liner, keeping it close to the lash line. I create a wing as an extension of the lower lash line, keeping it thin and precise. Then I smoke out only the edges. With the shade Lash Line from the palette, I set the liner for longevity and a more photogenic finish. To soften everything, I use the shade Smoke as a transition. I also do a very fine liner in the inner corner to make the eyes appear closer. For mascara, I apply a generous amount of Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I rarely wear false lashes on myself. Back to the face. I'm using Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow, still one of my all-time favorites. I apply the bronzer and then the highlighter on the high points of the face, then mixing them slightly to give a radiant finish to the face. On the lips, I apply Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Original, followed by NYX New Truffle Lip Liner for more definition. And this is the final look, guys. All products used are linked in the description below. What do you think of this cool toned full glam look? I absolutely love it. It's classy, sophisticated and timeless. Thank you so much for watching and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!